Hello, my lovely witches. I am here today with you, filming a video for the third time. I've had all sorts of dramas filming this video, so I hope this one works, but you will be seeing it for the first time. It is my Book of Shadows tour number 14. I've just completed this volume, and you'll see it's another chonky fella. This was actually the third signature in my Behemoth Book of Shadows, and when I realised that about partway through that book that there was no way I was going to fit the 3 signatures in, I actually cut this one out and I rebound it in this cover, which, as you can see, I did not leave a big enough spine for myself. One day I'll learn. Anyway, here we go. Let's get into it. So on the cover, I've got this wallpaper, vintage wallpaper that I found in an op shop, and a whole bunch of ephemera and stickers and what have you that I've added as time has gone on. On the inside, I do often do a bit of a collage on the inside front cover of my books. And often that takes place over the time that I'm using the book. So, I mean, in this case, I started in March and finished in June. So this was only a few months. But in some cases, it's been a year or two that I've added to the collage bit by bit as I have worked through the book. I have my standard sort of blessing of almost like an ownership of this book. And I also have this very, very simple book blessing. Bless this book. Blessings and invocations don't have to be complicated. They can be just as simple as that. I also have this Book of Shadows blessing that came with the Samhain Muses of Mystery subscription box. And I forgot to put a ribbon divider in the spine of this book. So I've included a little bookmark for myself as well. Get the first page turned. There we go. So page 1 is a spread. I hope that lighting's not too bad. Unfortunately, it's sun's just come out. It's making all sorts of crazy shadows over my page. So my card of the year is Strength. And so I wanted to do this strength spread with watercolour line and some stenciling with paints and some collage, colouring in, what have you. This was my Muses of Mystery Mabon box, which I did on a page of Stonehenge. Added a couple of stickers and the booklet. And these were the herbs and incenses that came in the box. So I've just popped them in a little CD envelope that I've embellished. Don't know if you can see that Godric has joined us. Godric, you're not helping. Please go away. Off you get, darling. Go on. Off you get. Good boy. I'm a patron of Molly Roberts, as you may well know, and I am on her snail mail tier, so I get sent a lovely envelope full of little goodies every month, and I will often stick them into my book. I certainly always stick the envelopes in. This had quite a lot of pieces that I had stuck in here, but I think this is the last piece left. The other pieces have been used somewhere else, and I may yet come back and use this piece somewhere else as well. This was my Mabon ritual this year. These are actually flaps that fold down, but there's personal things behind them, so I'm not going to flip them down. My new moon in Aries from April. These are my intentions. If you haven't followed me before, if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. every new moon, I take strips of fabric or ribbon and I tie them to my apple tree as similar to a clootie, to represent my intentions and wishes for each month. This is my road opener spell that I actually did for a friend. So all the information about that is actually tucked in this pocket here, because that's quite personal to that person. And, you know, obviously they don't want that shared. But this is the basics of the herbs that I used and sort of what I did. And then we come to Samhain, again, things from the Muses of Mystery box. So as this is a little description of what I sort of did, and there's some other personal stuff in behind this little flap here. And then the rest of the information from the Samhain box is here. This was my final box. I've decided not to renew that subscription. Not because it's not great, but we've discussed before, subscription boxes are one of those things that either work for you or they don't, and sometimes that can change. I did this one, which was specifically a Sabbat box for the full 12 months. So I received all 8 Sabbats and they were wonderful. They really were. But I've sort of come to the conclusion that I mostly don't really need the items in the box, and it feels a bit wasteful sometimes to be receiving things that, although they're beautiful, I've either already got them or I have no use for them, or I have to, you know, actually scrounge to try and find a use for them. Sort of doesn't seem to make sense. So for now, I have no subscription boxes, but that's not to say that I won't do them again in the future. I love getting that surprise in the mail every month. It is so much fun. So I'm not throwing shade on anyone who chooses to subscribe to a box, because it is a lot of fun, and if you're starting out in your practice, it can be a great way to build up tools and herbs and candles and that sort of thing, and also to learn more about the craft. So I'm not anti-subscription boxes. I love them, but at the moment I'm not subscribing to anything. So new moon intentions from May, again tucked away on this little card. And this is the envelope from the snail mail from Molly for that month as well. And then this is the next month. Obviously didn't do a lot, wasn't working a lot in my book these couple of months. As I've mentioned before, this year is very busy for me with a lot of family stuff. And I haven't had necessarily as much time as I would like to be performing witchcraft, connecting with my craft and working in my book. So these are my new moon intentions for May. But then in the last 12 months or so, 12 months, oh, what am I saying? Godric, stop that. Godric, he's just stealing the tablecloth off the table. Oi, stop it. Okay, I'm not going to stop this video and refilm it because this is the third time. So we are just going with the fact that Godric is trying to destroy everything. I don't know if the universe doesn't want me to make this video or what, but we're forging ahead. We're keeping on going. We will get through it. Right, Octarine. So this is a spread that I don't know what I was talking about. Too bad. We're moving on. This is a spread that I did actually on a live with someone on Instagram, and just sort of an art spread about the colour of magic. This is from Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels, if you're not familiar with them. Terry Pratchett's a very fun author, fantasy author, quite comedic, and lots of wizards and witches and what have you. And Octarine is a colour that appears only to wizards and cats in that particular world. So I did this fun spread on Octarine, which sort of represents magic taking place. That was pretty fun. This was a spread I did on ancestors and ancestry. It's basically just some thoughts and feelings that I've written on a card, and some old photographs that I came across while doing things with my family recently. That's quite private, so I'm not going to share them with you. This is a little goddess spread that I created, sort of intuitive collaging. I've been doing that a little bit lately. Where that's come from. And yeah, this is what's come up with this one. We're having a really wintry winter this year, and I'm loving it. And I have just written a little bit about my feelings on that, and some stuff to do with the Kaliak, my goddess. Then we come to Yule. So I did quite a lot of spreads leading up to Yule in preparation, and then I got COVID. So my actual Yule ritual was quite minor, but I've got some thoughts written about my Yule ritual and what I did in here. I've just tucked into this little pocket here, and the wishes for the coming year are on these cards. I did this little strength spell, which was very, very simple. That's the ingredients, and that's actually some of the herbs that I made into this little packet to tuck in there. And then that's got the words and things that were said and what the spell was all about. Tuck those back into this envelope. Some thoughts about COVID. This was a spread I did on a favourite book series. This is a series by Kim Harrison about a witch called Rachel Morgan, and it's set in a place called the Hollows. It's sort of a dystopian future urban fantasy type of series. It's great. I highly recommend it. And I was trying to make a note of all of the books in the series and which ones I had and which ones I was missing, and because I've got both actual physical copies of the books, and some of them I actually have audio books as well, or instead of. And so I thought, well, why not just make that a spread in my book, because then I know where I can find it again, and it was kind of fun. Molly Snail Mail again. This was a healing spell pouch, still recovering from COVID. Wanted to do something to help that process. So I drew the ingredients and stamped them, made a spread in my book as well. Then I did this ancient Egyptian collage spread. This sort of goes over 4 pages. This was a painting of sort of the Ouroboros from alchemy. It's a very alchemical image, tree of life and what have you. You may not realise it, but I don't always work chronologically from one page to the next in my book. Sometimes I switch it around, particularly with a junk journal. I might find a page that I want to work on that specific paper, or I've got something that I want to put into that page, and so I might actually work in the future pages without having filled up all the pages in between. So this is a little bit mixed around time-wise, sort of where we're time traveling through the book. Not that that matters to you, but You may or may not notice sometimes dates jump around a bit when I actually date things. I don't always date everything. A lot of the artworks I don't bother, but when I've done a spell, I like to. This was a protection candle creation that I did. This was a spread on bear and what bear represents. Bear is sacred to my goddess amongst several other deities. This is a solar oil recipe. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera because of the metallic ink and metallic paint. It may or may not be easy for you guys to see it. This is a glamour soap recipe to sort of, present your most fabulous self to the world. It helps to do that. Amber incense. This sigil basically says fuck the patriarchy. I had a lot of strong feelings around the whole overturning of the Roe versus Wade situation in the US. I don't want to get into that here, but I did have some very strong feelings about it, and I wanted to do something about it, and so I created this sigil. Please feel free, if you want to pause this, copy the sigil, use it yourself. It literally means fuck the patriarchy. This is my abramelon oil recipe. And my protection soap. This is a separate protection soap recipe from one that I did previously. I actually will probably want to add this one in. I really like this recipe, so I might want to add this one into my grimoire as well as the current one that I've got in there. This was an invocation to Venus. This is a little home blessing that I will often say when I'm smoke cleansing my house. This is another one of those sort of intuitive collages. I don't always know where they come from, how they start. They start sometimes with one piece of ephemera, and then I start flicking through my collections of papers and images and painting and just, yeah. So this is sort of about death, decay, I guess. Then a little bit of kitchen witchery that I want to either do or that I plan to try. This is some information on the Scottish Brownie, which is a household spirit from Scotland. It's actually the folklore origin of J.K. Rowling's house elves. Obviously her mythology is her own, but she's used quite a lot of the Brownie mythology in the creation of her house elf characters. This is some information on seining, which is essentially smoke cleansing. It's the Scottish version, and houses were cleansed with blessed water and by burning juniper at Hogmanay, which is essentially New Year. And because of my Scottish roots, I've had in the past had quite a lot of access to juniper. So I've used juniper for smoke cleansing quite a bit. I don't only use juniper because it is a very slow growing plant. So despite the fact that I've had access to quite a lot of it, I don't want to decimate the plants that I do have access to. And these are some magical oil recipes that I've written on little tags. These all come from, I think it's the Llewellyn Book of Magical Oils, which is it's a great book. It's a sort of formulary of anything and everything you can possibly imagine if you want to, you know, have a good selection of recipes. I don't necessarily use them exactly as they suggest or do them, you know, use the exact ingredients, but they're a great starting point when you want to create magical oils. Another collage of a sea priestess and a charm for restful sleep. This is a sort of a spell ball, witch ball I created. Some more oil recipes. This is some personal work that we're not going to talk about. A cleansing wash that I use to wash my floors or to use as a bench spray or, you know, household cleaning spray. This you might have seen on Instagram was my spread on portals, which has the portal here showing through to the standing stones in Scotland, which I then did a spread on standing stones as well. This is some kitchen witchery information and my road opener oil recipe. I've also, that's an ephemera from Molly. That's a little card sent to me by an artist when I purchased a print, and that's another road opening oil or incense. And we have the new moon in Cancer and my intentions. Another little bell. This is a rain spell. This is a collage of the Queen of the Fae and some information on how to work with fairies, and a little blessing spell for the garden, asking the Fae folk to lend their magic to your garden. This is a garden grow charm. Again, it's another witch's ball type of spell with some herbs, seeds from the garden, little tree of life charm. This is some information on pop-up magic that I wrote down after watching a Kellyanne Maddox video. Really, really great video. I highly recommend you check that out. And this is my healing bone broth recipe. And some Bookwitch sigils. Again, that's from Molly Roberts. So I did this little sort of collage around it with some book stickers. And that is book 14. There is a back page, but there's nothing in it. I had some information tucked in there throughout the time that I was working with the book. So that's it. Book 14. Bit of a chonk meister. Got some little charms and things on paper clips where I've got things tucked into the book. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, despite the chaos partway through due to cats. As I said, I've already filmed this video so many times and something's gone wrong every time, and I just was going to plow on in because, you know me, I don't edit. I can't be asked. I don't have the amazing editing skills, so I wasn't going to try and cut bits out and fix it up, and too much effort. Just, we're doing it. We're done. I hope you've enjoyed this little flip through. And I hope you weren't too annoyed by the chaos. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.